Yeah. So that is why it's most important for the current generation, the coming generation, and we cannot just play the blame game that who did what harm, and it's important for all of us.
Of course, I completely agree with you. In terms to understand sustainability, we actually have to take a pause and start from the beginning. Second question to you, Sahani. How, since you are from India and I'm also from Bangladesh, and we are here talking about Sri Lankan aspects as well. So it's all kind of South Asian context. How do you think the unique culture and societal aspects, all our practices of South Asia influence sustainable living practices?
So if you go back to the traditional roots of sustainability, so it means that I'm just repeating here that the longevity of the things that we consider, and like I have observed that even the Sri Lankan culture is very similar to the Indian culture, and here we deeply believe in preserving things rather than disposing of, which is mostly a westernized concept of single use things. So in that aspect, of course, the South Asian culture is more towards sustainability, that we believe in preserving things and conserving them for the next generation also, and investing in long term things rather than the disposable aspects or the single use items. And hence, like here, I usually say that, what our grandmothers and grandfathers or grandparents used to do. So simply, bringing back some of those concepts which we have forgotten over the time. So that's a very eco-friendly way to go about. So there was this news that came up, I think last year, that some German company introduced those plates and bowls made of leaf. But we have been using them since a long time back, and it's nothing new to us. So we have to be slightly careful what we term as sustainable, because it might culturally differ, because some practices that we have been doing are totally sustainable from the root of it. And we don't need to ape the Western culture. We need only the good parts of it. We don't need to ape everything out of it, knowing that we are culturally and socioeconomically very different from them.
Absolutely agree. Why do we need someone else coming from another country and coming here and reminding us that what is good about us, our culture, when we ourselves voluntarily can carry it forward? Absolutely agree. What are the some of the biggest environmental challenges facing South Asia, according to you, and how can individuals, personal level, can contribute on addressing them? Do you think?
So I'll just expand the first bit from the previous question, that somewhere we are trying to ape the single use or the disposable culture. I have traveled to 3, 4 South Asian countries, and I observed that a lot of single use plastic is being into the economy now. As we see that, okay, if the tourism economy is boosting, but that comes with its cons. So you see the hospitality industry, it's relying more on the single use plastic for serving purposes, for the server. And it's so common. And one major thing that I observed, I think I, along with my co-travelers, we were at Mount Lavinia Beach, and we saw that, that other people were very excited about the swim part of it, but I wasn't very sure about it. And I just explained to them before the swim that, the single use plastic aspect of it, which I really don't adore. And two, three of them went for the swim, and they came back, with a very sad face. And I asked them why was that, and they told me that, Sahanu, after you told us about the single use plastic thing, all that we saw around us, or all that we could think about, was the plastic thing only. Even if there were two, three single use plastic things that were floating towards us, but they were the only things that we could think about. And it's not that we are not aware, but we intentionally try to unsee things. So we are aware, It's the generation of social media. We all have our mobile phones and etc. We are highly aware people, but sometimes we tend to ignore the things happening around us, moving in our fast lifestyles. So when we travel in a car, so we cannot see what's happening around. But if the similar case is on a bicycle, if you're traveling through a bicycle, you are on a slow pace, then you can actually observe what is happening around you. You can observe the single use trash. So here, coming back to the question, the South Asian aspect of it, the major thing lacking is, in order to try uh, adopting the to the single-use plastic culture, we have done a major harm to our nature, our culture, and it's not just that we are doing harm to one particular region. It's to the impact is for all of us, all on the planet Mother Earth. It's not going to spare that. Okay, if one city of Sri Lanka didn't do any harm, it will spare. No, the climate change, the global warming, and everything will be uh, having an adverse impact on all of us, on all the earthlings. And one more thing that like I came to know about while I was just reading about fashion. So the consequences of uh, fast fashion is that a lot of it uh, the fast fashion, I'm just quickly explaining the concept so that it's clear to everyone. So these are the trends that come very fast on the runway, and from the runway they're adopted into the manufacturing, and then they go very fast into the stores and to our wardrobes also. Because as uh, consumers who want to feel very stylish and everything, so we adopt on these trends very quickly, and this is what fast fashion is. But the repercussion is that once these items are hardly worn for more than twice or thrice, and then they are discarded. And then what happens to this discarded fashion? So mostly cause the disposing of methods, the recycling methods are very expensive all over the world, not just in the southern Asia, but even in Europe the recycling facilities are not that developed. So what they tend to do is whatever uh, waste or whatever articles that they want to dispose of, they are being sent to the southern Asia. And here either they are mishandled or even available as very cheap items also. But in the end it's all fueling the overconsumption aspect of it. It's doing no good to us, to the manufacturers. Of course the people who are the CEOs and the major players in this, they of course earn out of it monetarily, but the real cost of it uh, is mostly ignored by many people. So yeah, that is in crux how sustainability is going downhill with the South Asian countries.
Absolutely agree. I think you have touched based few things that I also have included in my questions. There will be further questions on those topics. You have spoken about influences, fast fashion. So, speaking of that, your friends have told you that the moment you talked about single-use plastic, all they thought about was on the
Hmm.
beach, right? So when we usually ask people and tell people to avoid those and replace it with some sustainable product, the one question I always get to hear is, I'm also going to pass it on to you as a question, that how do you think a practice for sustainable living in South Asia may be more accessible, since these kind of products are considered a little expensive? How do you see that fact?
Mhm. Okay, so like in my 3 or 4 years of talking about sustainability, knowing about sustainability and advocating it, so this question has always come up, and I think I have addressed it more than 50, 60 times. So I'll just say we need to change the perspective here, that sustainable lifestyle is not expensive at all. So if we, it's the approach that we take. If we really go about big sustainable brands or a brand oriented sustainable lifestyle, then of course it will be expensive. But if we go about the root of it, knowing what sustainability actually is and then practicing it, then it's uh, not in any way expensive. Because a simple example, like just taking the story from my friend's swimming anecdote here. So after the swimming incident, uh, like I usually ask any server or any waiter to not add a plastic straw or any paper straw to my drink. I can drink my any drink, as it is without a straw. And before that, my friends used to just say that, okay, what difference will, saying no to one straw will make? And it's a paper straw. They'll just say that these are recyclable, etc. But after the swimming incident, even like all of them told the waiter that no, we don't want any straw on this table. So these are the simple little things. Even, it doesn't cost anything to say no to such things. You say no to a plastic bag, you say no to a plastic straw, etc. When you say no to things, you're not spending anything. It's almost a zero budgeted thing. When you say no to overconsumption, like you are not hoarding things, you are not shopping every weekend, you're not indulging in anything single use. So of course you're saving money on that aspect. And when you consider say if you're traveling domestically or locally, and there is an option to go by a flight or go by a train or bus, and I really loved and adored like the public transportation system in Sri Lanka was very good and very nice. So we were mostly and always traveling through the public transportation, uh, taking the tuk-tuks, taking the buses. It took some time to understand the system, but it was very easy once you understand it, and very budget friendly also. So it's not just earth friendly, it's budget friendly also sometimes. So you have to just pick up the things right. And it's when you choose a public transport, it is easier on your pocket also. So it's I'll say mostly a myth that a sustainable lifestyle is expensive. Yeah, of course, if you go on splurging on some brands that are marketed as sustainable, so in that aspect, of course, it will be expensive if you go for, like, say, organic cotton and things that are labeled as 100% sustainable. So sustainability is an approach. You cannot label things and people as sustainable. Even I am not perfect, and I say that I like to do my bits, whatever I am able to do, and that's the way to go ahead.
I'm glad that I have asked you this question because exactly the similar thing happened to me just yesterday, and I actually touched with a similar response where when we talk about the all the R. So I always ask everybody just guess which R comes first. So people usually go for reuse or recycle and all, but actually the first R is reject. So when you say no, it doesn't cost you any money. It is not expensive, but you are directly involving into a sustainable lifestyle, the first step, which is yes, reject. Thank you so much. So we are on the fifth question. I would like to ask you at this point, is there any specific sustainable initiatives or movement in South Asia that you have found particularly inspiring or noticeable?
Okay, so I'll touch base on one particular thing that is very similar to the beach cleanup aspect of zero plastic movement also. So there is this movement by Gary from Sungai Watch, and they started with Bali, Indonesia, and the single-use plastic problem in the water bodies was extreme there. So they installed these reservoirs that controlled the movement of single-use plastic and even all the trash that was going ahead into the water bodies and the streams. And all the trash that they collected, they make say benches and something that is of utility from them. So even I remember I was very keen to know that, okay, the plastic water bottles or the beach trash that we were all collecting, what happens to it? And the people over there were very responsive, and they told that, okay, the plastic water bottles, they go to a recycling facility that make t-shirts out of it. So it is very cool aspect to highlight, because a lot of people come with their own sets of doubts and questions that, okay, is beach cleanup a solution? I think there is a need for everything, even if you are a couch activist, or even if you are going on ground and helping, or even if you are into industry and improving the processes. So everything counts, and we need all of them. It's not that anybody is not required in this chain. Everybody is required in this. And so this was one of the major inspiring movements, I'll say, because they kept in track the circular economy bit of it, that the trash was not just the end cycle, the disposal aspect of it, but they took the trash, brought it back into the circular economy of it, made some products that can be used. And similarly, there are some movements here also. There is healing Himalayas. Himalayas, as we all know, are the major protectors of the southern region. And unfortunately, tourism, I'll say over tourism, has caused a lot of damage to the Himachal region, the Himalayas. And there is this beautiful organization who's putting up MRFs. So these are material recovery facilities, and they segregate the collected trash into, say, 13, 14 different categories, and then these are then recycled, or somewhat put into the circular economy back. And yeah, so I have been very fortunate to work with the organization I really adore. It's by the name of Green Mina, and they have this other baby, that is Carter cleanup. So Mumbai is a very popular city in India here. So they do Carter cleanup, beach cleanup, sorry. And these beach cleanups are very mindfully curated so that everybody can participate every Saturday, come down to the beach, clean the beaches. Because it's not just about India or Sri Lanka. I see beaches here in South Asia, everywhere you see, even if the coastal aspect of it is maintained, still there is a lot of trash in it. And I think that is where the away part of it comes. When we say throw away, so there's no away, it's all coming back to us in the form of, through the waves, through the air we breathe in.
Mm.
And it's all coming back to us, even in form of different diseases also. So if we really want to target the economic aspect of it, if we don't want to spend our hard earned money on medical bills, we need to consider sustainability. Yeah.
Agree. I mean, it's now actually coming back with the rainwater. Even I read an article that even in rainwater they have identified microplastics. They're coming back through fish and whatnot. So here comes to the next question. The question number 6 to you. As we all know that South Asia, mostly the South Asian region, is very high in garment industry. We are, because of our labor cost, which is cheaper than other countries. We are high on agriculture because of our culture and tradition. So what do you think in the South Asian context, the government and the businesses can influence more into sustainable living?
Of course, like I was doing this course on food waste management, and so they conducted like a research, so in which a lot of people believe, and which is true, that government will save us, or government plays a key role in deciding the policies and the sustainable aspects of it. But there are other major stakeholders too in this realm. So there, the manufacturers, the producers also play a crucial role. Here in India, what I see is that they put a ban on the single use plastic, and for some time it goes, but due to some lobbying and etc., then it is lifted again. So employment, definitely, if the sector that is not so sustainable, the plastic sector, the single use plastic sector, if it is generating employment, we need to have plan B and plan C in place before completely banning it off, before shutting it off. And of course, this needs a sustainable plan put in place, and it will come together only when the government, the people, and the producers are, together in this. And uh, just highlighting the aspect of climate anxiety also, because there are so many political things that, as a layman, even I don't understand that. Okay, why, if it's so easy to implement, why is the government not implementing it? But there are a lot of complications behind that, and there is a lot of people are involved in it, like India being now the highest populated country. So they have to consider a lot of people in this. And if like this I learned gradually, that if I ask somebody who is, hardly managing their bread and butter to go sustainable, or to not have a bread that comes in a plastic package, so that is foolish of me, because they are dependent on that bread. Their families are dependent on that bread. So I cannot just go about shouting that, okay, leave single use plastic or leave plastic, without giving them a proper solution that fits their budget. And the people who are from the lower income strata, so they are not the ones who are actually uh, having a negative impact on the environment as such. The percentage is low, while the people who are the higher income groups, so they are the major polluters. Like if we take the bigger picture, because if we are the ones who are traveling a lot, using airplanes, if we are the ones who are over consuming, if we are the ones who are not distinguishing between needs and wants, so we cannot simply blame one strata for consuming plastic. And the bigger picture needs to be in place. And highlighting from the producer's aspect, so there is this term EPR, that is extended producer's responsibility. And the debate and blame game comes here, that okay, if, like, even while beach cleanups, if we find the plastic from a specific brand, so whose responsibility is that to handle it? So of course, if, like, the producers also get some kind of a rebate to be environmentally sustainable, so this is their responsibility also, to make sure that the the produce that they have doesn't get disposed in a non-mindful manner, or in something that ends up polluting. So the post consumption aspect of it also comes under the responsibility of the producer. So if you just dive slightly deeper into it, you can actually make the companies accountable for it. So even if, like, the sachets, the little sachets that we find a lot during cleanups, and a lot in the trash, if we held the companies accountable for this trash, of course they will be taking an action, and you just need to take a right path to make them accountable. And of course there will be changes. uh, the amount of microns these company work on, that due to the research and etc, so the microns are being increased, decreased according to the utility of the product. And the packaging aspect of it, if something is not required anymore, so the glass, just as an example, so the cold drinks and the cola that used to come in glass bottles now has come in plastic bottles. And now again, due to a lot of protests and everything, so they are shifting some certain aspects of it back to the glass bottles, because glass, I believe, is infinitely recyclable. So tackling these problems in a way that it addresses the EPR. So that is where the government, the producers, and us being a mindful consumer comes into the play.
Rightly said. I think the right kind of subsidizing and credibility, accountability all need to synchronize in a manner where it will actually push the industry and the small entrepreneurs and everybody into a sustainable manner. The next question is also involving you here, what you also referred, influencers, you being also influencer. I always had a mixed feeling about influencers. So I would like to ask you, what do you feel about influencers? Because I'm sure you will agree that on social media there are less of you and more of the other influencers that we were talking about, fast fashion, impulsive shopping behavior. So what do you think about the influencers? What kind of responsibility they should hold now that the influencer culture is increasing rapidly?
Sure. So, like, we tend to spend a lot of time on our phones. So, this needs to be addressed very well. That if we are spending a lot of our time on social media, of course, the companies market their ways through this and comes into our lives through this, through the influencers. And we need to, know that which influencer or which type of content is paid content and which is an actual content. Most of the content, if it's paid, so you know that, okay, so if the influencer is getting paid to say something, they will say, and they might not have the moral background to cross check whether the companies are ethical or are sustainable. If people are even paid to say that, okay, this particular thing is sustainable without even knowing the background, without even doing the background checks. And many influencers are not experts of the field. So social media has given the power or the right to raise your voice, and you need to check as people who follow these influencers, and like, even if I follow somebody, so I want to see their credibility about the subject. If it's entertainment, of course, it can be anything. But if it is informative and it is educative, then we need to check the credibility part of it and not blindly trust. Just mentioning that, these apps also, those who push to buy a lot. So what I tend to do is, if an influencer is uh, it's all marketing, it's all marketing that they use. So if somebody is really pushing me to buy something, I usually tend to just unfollow them because this is how I make my peace with it. And if an app is also being very pushy to buy things, so I just uninstall it. Like, giving a reference, so I haven't bought like anything in the section of fashion and apparel since 2 3 years now, because I came to realize that whatever I have was more than enough for me, and I don't want to add new things to my wardrobe or my life simply because it's a trending. Trends will fade away, but I know the mental cost of things that I buy will remain there. And once you realize that the resources that being put up to make things, uh, very easily putting up the to make one t-shirt, it takes approximately 10,000 liters of water. So when we see the rate tag, when we see the price tag of a thing, it's nowhere mentioned, the resources are not mentioned at all. It might mention the material used and where it is made and the size, the cost aspect, but the resources are never mentioned. The number of labors are that are being put into it, the energy that is being put up into it. So once we read between the lines and know the resources that are being put, so we will always take a break from getting influenced by the influencers. We don't need um, more of influencers now. We need the influencers who will tell us that, okay, these are things you should not buy. Because it's very easy nowadays to come on camera and tell people in different ways. You keep on dancing, you become a trend. So it's we need to really talk to the youth, because youth are the ones that easily get influenced. Of course, I see my dad also, he opens Facebook every morning, and then he's like, okay, this thing is available, and it says sugar free, so he is diabetic and he gets influenced very easily. So I saw the patterns in my home, and then I decided to sort of change them. And then I decided that, okay, if I tag myself as an influencer, one thing I won't be doing is having paid collaborations. If it's actually like a genuine product, I'll market it as it is. But if it doesn't serve any purpose to me, then I won't be doing it, even if it pays me also, because I know that I'm not earning my bread and butter through influencing. So it gives me the power to do that, and I'm happy and proud to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely agree with you. I think influencers hold a lot of responsibility at this era now that people are watching them, people are following them, uh, influencing people into impulsive shopping behavior and influencing them to purchase more, spend more, and generate more waste is actually not what we expect from them. Now I'm actually on the question number 8, where I would like you to take us into your region, in your country. In the context of India, is there any story, any event we were discussing few days back that you would like to share with all of us?
Sure. So I was fortunate enough to be the part of the sustainable consultation team for the World Cup in Mumbai and Pune. So last year, India hosted the Cricket World Cup, uh, and it was in the ten cities here. And for the two cities, we did the consultation, and it was sustainable consultation. And it was my first time, going to a stadium, going to a cricket stadium, and I was very happy to be on the organizing team of it, not just the spectator part of it, because that would give me the power to know things better, what happens, off the ground, and what happens if we just see on the TV. Okay, it's just a lot of adrenaline rush going on, that okay, cheering for the country, etc. But the waste aspect of it, the sustainability aspect of it, it hardly gets onto the screen. And just sharing some statistics. So, say in one match of the capacity of 30,000 spectators, so during one match, approximately 10,000 kgs of waste is being generated. And this is just for one day. And there were approximately, I'll say, 52 matches that were being played. And you can imagine the amount of waste that was being generated. And what we were able to do is that we were able to provide 70 to 80% segregation of waste into dry and wet waste. And the wet waste was being sent to the composting facility and the biogas facilities, so that it doesn't end in a landfill. And the dry waste, the plastic waste, the paper waste, so that was being sent to a recycler. Of course, there was a certain percentage, 20 to like 15 percentage, that was mixed waste, that we couldn't do anything about it, and that probably ended in a landfill. But the statistics of something, I'm really sure that Sri Lanka also enjoys cricket as much as India does. And I was very happy to see, like, there were two, three games that even Sri Lanka also played. And I was very happy to see, because I was like, oh, I was there. Like, I had some, like, personal connect with the country, because it is really beautiful. And so the experience of managing so many people, like 30,000 people and even more people, and to be able to spread awareness, even if some people, like, we were spreading awareness, we were holding these placards, cardboard placards that we reused, and we wrote beautiful messages on them. And the reporting aspect of it, that that okay, converting the waste aspect into the carbon footprint aspect, and where things could have been improved, so improving them in the next match and the coming matches. So all of this crucial data that needs to be there for any next game or any next huge, excuse me, huge events that happens. So this data is very helpful, and it uh, it can make the change that is required, because even still a lot of awareness is not there regarding the aspect of sustainability. And like I remember we had a brief chat regarding the weddings aspect of it, if you remember, Jacqueline. So that weddings also produce a huge amount of waste. And of course, for many people it happens once in their life, but still it is not a reason to generate waste. Celebrations don't mean uh, to generate waste. We have encountered waste during beach cleanups, during our daily lifestyle. So why not, put an end to it through events, through our daily life? And why specifically I'm talking about events is because in one day the amount of waste generated is huge, comparing it to our daily lifestyle. So if in daily lifestyle, say if you have 10 kgs of waste going out of your home, but on an event day it can be like 1,000 or more kgs of waste also. So that's why we need to be more mindful on on a celebration aspect, on a celebratory aspect, on the event aspect of it, and even of course with the daily lifestyle also.
Well, it's a very insightful information. I am also a cricket fan and I always enjoy cricket at the stadium, but I actually never focused on that aspect of, spectator and generating that much of waste. It was actually a great information. And of course, I agree, absolutely agree that, any kind of celebration, it may be one day for me or one moment for me, but it not necessarily has to destroy the planet or the environment in that vast manner. I would like to address here at this point on behalf of Zero Plastic Movement. Recently, last month, we have celebrated the Sri Lanka New Year, and it was on 14th April. And Zero Plastic Movement had their Aburudu, we call it here, their Sri Lankan New Year celebration on April 23rd. And they have celebrated and they have claimed it that absolutely zero waste celebration. Whatever decorations was done there, they have done it out of banana tree or leaves from coconut tree and stuff like that. So we are very proud of them. Big shout out to them. On that note, to the next question, as you mentioned that you actually have been to Sri Lanka and you love the country. So do I. And you have also, I'm actually happy that I met you there on one of the Zero Plastic Movement cleanup events. So I would like you to share something, some insights, some observation, and your moments, your experience with Zero Plastic Movement as well, also about Sri Lanka at this.
Okay, so yeah, so I came to Sri Lanka 2 years back, uh, during this May and April month only. And even I was able to see this New Year's Sri Lanka New Year's celebration, and very excited to be part of it. That okay, like when you get to explore the authentic side of culture, I have been very fond of authentic experiences rather than just being. You stay at a five-star hotel in the major cities and be there on the staycation. No, that is not my kind. But I was able to experience Sri Lanka beyond, what is there on, like, say, elephants, etc. Because it's mostly marketed like that. But, like, surprisingly, like, I was there for 2 months approximately, and I didn't see any elephants as such. I think I didn't go for the Yala National Park thing. That's why. And it's uh, the culture is not restricted to that. Two, three things that like remember vividly. So these were like there were fruit trees, almost like we were staying 1 hour away from Colombo, and there were fruit trees and almost all of the homes they had some green region for plants, etc. That was a beautiful aspect of it. And even the traditional things, the cultural things that were being done. So it was also like the that you remember the that you mentioned, the banana decor, the banana leaf decor, the coconut leaf decor. So it was also very beautiful that there was no plastic decor, and keeping the culture, the artistic side of it alive. And I'm vegan, so finding vegan food was very easy in Sri Lanka because of the coconut milk and how tropically rich the country is. Of course, that was an unfortunate time also for the country, and I saw that there were huge lanes, in front of gas stations and fuel pumps for the fuel, which made me, realize that we need to respect the resources that are limited in number. If this problem is not back in our homes or in other countries, but this can be a, future problem also. So makes it made me more mindful for the resource planning aspect of it, that okay, it is very difficult to stand in queues for 1 hour and wait, before going to your work for fuel and etc., for daily items, daily routine items also. And there were major lessons hidden in those 2 months. And I remember the stay that we were opting for didn't have any air conditioner. So initially, even I was slightly worried that okay, it's a hot country, how will we survive without an air conditioner? But uh, the tropical weather made it very easy for us. And of course, there were some times that we felt like, okay, it's getting too hot, but that's the climate change aspect of it that only we all have induced. And wherever little bit we can do to reverse the damage or to control the damage, we can do, we all must do. And whenever anybody asks me that okay, where we should go, and I really suggest people to go to Sri Lanka for like say 2 weeks at least, to embrace the slow tourism aspect of it, because it's a beautiful country. And I really adore it. Even if I have been to other countries also, some other countries, I won't say that I have traveled a lot, but yeah, to some other countries, but still I'll say that people say that okay, it's very similar to India only, but no, it's not similar to India. Sri Lanka has its own beautiful environment, climate, people. And I had one of the best times of my life. And I highly recommend, like anybody who asks me that whether they should go to Sri Lanka or not, I'll say just please go. Don't go to fancy places and burn your hard-earned money. Please go to Sri Lanka.
I'm sure all the Sri Lankans who have joined this session right now is very happy and very proud about their own country, which I also always tell them. You have to feel proud. It's such a beautiful country and such a beautiful nation, and they are so resilient and such beautiful cultures that they have carried from their traditional way of living. And absolutely agree with you. There are green in every house. You will get to see here, and the diversified, diverse wildlife and the biodiversity, even in a city like Colombo, which is like a very urbanized city, you will get to see the water monitors and even the other lizards and a lot of big kind of birds, which are maybe migrated birds. They are all around and they are just roaming around as if nothing is happening and very chill. So that's the culture and the tradition and the environment and atmosphere that all the Sri Lankans should be proud about. uh, we are almost at the very end, Sahanu. I wish I could like ask you 20 questions instead of 10. But the last question, actually not a question, it's a request. If I ask you to say one message the viewers who join.
Yeah, I think there was some network issues, but I think it was regarding like a short message for all
Yes,
the.
one message. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, okay,
yes.
okay. So I'll just say one thing, that whenever you are confused, regarding if it's biodegradable or if it's sustainable or not. Just know that something that nature has created will be degraded by nature, but something that is man made won't be degraded by nature. So it's as simple as that. Why plastic cannot be degraded by nature? Because it's man made, it's made by petroleum. And why, say, banana leaves and fruits are biodegradable? Because it's created by nature. So whenever you are stuck in your head that, oh my god, if it's sustainable or it's not, just uh, try to recall if it's made by nature or not, and you get the answer. And it's very easy. Sustainability is the way to go. It's the easiest thing that we can do as our bit for the planet, for the nurturing planet, for the beautiful planet that we have. And thank you so much, Jacqueline, once again for having me. And of course, Zero Waste Movement also. I'm humbled to be here, and I have all the lovely flashbacks from my trip. And I will plan soon that whenever possible I'll come back to Sri Lanka for a long time and be there and experience more out of the country.
Of course, Sahanu, you are always welcome, and we would, as Zero Plastic Movement, we would be happy and proud to have you for one of our activity or program or session when you next time visit Sri Lanka. So here, everybody who joined today this webinar and listened to Sahanu, I'm sure Sahanu has inspired all of you with the answers of the 10 questions that we have asked her. And wish everybody all the best if you are rejecting from today onwards, starting, and that's just your level one towards sustainable lifestyle. So I wish you all the best and be proud of yourself, be a sustainable person, just like Sahanu. Thank you, Sahanu. Pamodi, over to you.
Thank you so much for your valuable insights, Taharu. I have been hearing all the things that you said, so that was like really insightful because I personally learned a lot, which means like I'm pretty sure that everybody here learned something from what you said and with the conversation that went on. So I'm super glad that I joined here. So with that, we can conclude the session today. But before that, I have something for our dear participant who joined us. Let me share it with you. So this is our the speaker of the day, Sahanu. It's her Facebook. She's a like a really eco-friendly entrepreneur. You may have heard, you may have felt that through the session she did. So she has a Instagram page to help to live sustainably. So you can always check it out. I have added the link to follow her page and some little details about her, and you can see what she has done through the little screenshot I have added here. You can imagine like living sustainable and being eco-friendly is not that expensive and it's not that hard. All we have to do is think and act sustainable. So that's about it. So let me conclude the session today. So once again, good evening everyone. I'm Pamudi. So as we have come to the end of the session today, of the insightful session, Decoding Sustainability 1.0,
I think we
I
lost
would
Sahanu.
like to express I would like to express our sincere gratitude to all who made this event possible. Sorry. First and foremost, a big thank you to the Zero Plastic Movement and its visionary founder, Mr. Nishankari Silva, for recognizing the importance of sustainable education and for bringing us together for this valuable session. And also, we are incredibly grateful for our esteemed speaker, Ms. Shanu J, the Sustainability Council, consultant and the entrepreneur from India. Your expertise and insights on decoding sustainability were truly eye-opening. I personally loved it so much. So thank you so much. And also, I would like to extend our appreciation to Ms. Jacqueline Elizabeth, the ambassador of Zero Plastic Movement, for moderating this session so effectively. Your guidance and questions ensured a productive and engaging discussion through the webinar. Personally, thank you for that. And also, a big thank you to the organizing committee of the Zero Plastic Community of Rajarhat University of Sri Lanka for making this event possible. Your dedication and hard work in putting together this session are commendable. And not last but not least, a warm thank you to all the participants who joined us today for your active participation, that which made the session more enriching. And to conclude my word of thanks, I would like to invite you all to stay with us uh, to be more eco-friendly and to do something to the nature and while improving ourselves. And thank you for joining us in this evening. We wish you a productive and enjoyable rest of your night. Thank you and good night.
Thank you. Good night. Thanks,
Thank you
Sahanu. Good night.
so much.